Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Okay, I'm going to put the link to the lyrics of the text on the chat. So those who don't have the book yet, you can just look there and you can chant along with us, right? So we will chant the first verse and the second verse. These two are the invocation shlokas. So we will chant these verses for every class, right? First verse. Sargasthiti pralaya hetum achintya shaktim Vishveshwaram vidita vishvamanantamurtim Nirmukta bandhanam apara sukhamburashim Shri Vallabham Vimalabodhaganam namami. Verse 2. Yasya prasadadahameva vishnuhu Mayyeva sarvam parikalpitam cha Itham vijanami sadatmarupam Tasyangri padmam pranatosmi nityam. Okay, so last week we entered into this text called Vakya Vritti. Vakya means the Mahavakya, the great statement, Tattvamasi, and Vritti, an exposition of it. So in the first verse, it says that I bow down to that pure consciousness. But how can I bow down to pure consciousness if it is non-dual? Something that's pure means there's nothing else in it. How can I bow down to pure consciousness? Well, you bring in the power of Maya, Achintya Shakti. And when we bring in the power of Maya, then that pure consciousness expresses as Ishvara. And who is Ishvara? Sargasthiti pralaya hetu. The one who is the cause for the creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the world. And this Ishvara is Vidita Vishwam Ananta Murtim, means the one who is all-knowing. Vidita Vishwam Ananta Murtim, of endless forms. So this Ishvara is the Nimitta Karana, the efficient cause, and the material cause, all of the names and forms in and through all of them. And is this Ishvara, because he's doing all of this, is he in any sorrow? No. Nirmukta bandhanam, free from any sorrow. But is it just an absence of sorrow? No. Apara sukham burashim. He, she, that Ishvara is ever reveling in supreme bliss. And that Ishvara to me comes as Shri Vallabha, here as Vishnu. And to that Ishvara I prostrate. So the prostration is only possible when we superimpose duality in consciousness. And this is how that happens. Then in the second is, how did we come to understand this? How did we come to understand that we are that pure consciousness ourselves? Yasya prasadat ahameva Vishnu. Due to the grace of the Guru. Yasya means, in the second shloka, the Guru, the Guroho. Because of the Guru's grace, we have understood that we are Vishnu, meaning the one that's all-pervading. Mayeva sarvam parikalpitam cha, that everything is just superimposed on me, pure consciousness. And itam vijanami, I have realized this. I have realized myself as sadatma rupam, that pure existence, pure being. Tasyangri padmam pranatosmi nityam. And I constantly, continuously bow down to the feet of Guru, by whose grace this realization has come to be. So invoking that pure consciousness as God, as Bhagavan, invoking that pure consciousness as Guru, and realizing that that pure consciousness is the self alone, Adi Shankaracharya ji starts this text. So he starts it from the highest Vedanta. Now, he's going to come down to our level. The first and second verses, they tell us what realization actually is. Now, from 3 onwards is how exactly does one come to this realization? What are the steps? And so today we start with verse number 3. Okay? Tapatrayarka santaptaha. Can you repeat? Tapatrayarka santaptaha. Kashchid udvignamanasah. Kashchid udvignamanasah. Shamadhi sadhanair yuktaha. Shamadhi sadhanair yuktaha. Sadgurum pariprichhati. Sadgurum pariprichhati. Tapatrayarka santaptaha. Kashchid udvignamanasah. Shamadhi sadhanair yuktaha. Sadgurum pariprichhati. So in the third verse, what's being described is, who is this student? First of all, it's coming to the student. So who are we? This is actually our history. The first word is kashchit. Means this student is rare. There's some student. Why is this student rare? Because not many say, I want to know the truth of life. You know, people will say, I want to pursue a career. Okay, great. I want to have a family. Yes, go for it. I want to travel, see the world. Go for it. I want to know the truth. What? What do you mean, right? So the person who wants to know the truth, who wants to know themselves, that is quite rare. That is very rare. So this is kashchit. And with that rarity, something else is required, which is the conducive circumstance has to be there. So I may want to know the truth, but if the circumstances are not conducive to me, how will I ever know that truth? If I want to make a sincere effort to do my sadhana, to wake up early, but all of a sudden there's so much work going on, it's very difficult. If I want to sincerely pursue this quest and then something happens with my health, then again it becomes difficult. So this combination of I have that intense desire and there's a conducive circumstance for me to pursue it. This combination to come together is rare. It's durlabha. And that's why whenever we have this combination, then use it fully. Use it fully. Guruji says so beautifully, he says, if you sweat more in peace, then you will bleed less in war. There's a quote that he always repeats, because when we have these two together, that desire and the conducive circumstance, then pursue self-realization fully. Pursue it fully. Because, the body, mind, intellect, they're unpredictable. Anything can happen at any time. So kaśćit is, this person is rare. Now, how did this person come to be? How was this seeker born? The one who wants knowledge. Tapatrayarka santaptaha, right? So that's the first word. Taptaha means someone who's burnt. Santaptaha, someone who's really burnt, scorched. By what? Arka. Arka, like that sun, that blazing sun. Somebody who is scorched by the blazing sun. What is the blazing sun? The 3 types of miseries. Tapatraya, 3 types of miseries. They are ādhidaivika, ādhibhautika, and ādhyātmika. We also saw this in Chandogya Upanishad, right? There are these miseries from the ādhidaivika level, means pertaining to the devatas. Pertaining to the devatas meaning rains, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, things which we really, really cannot control. They are all of the forces of nature and our devatas, and sometimes a disturbance happens in that level which we cannot control. Ādhibhautika means these disturbances pertaining to 5 elements. 5 elements, all beings are 5 elements. So these disturbances which are around us, some loud noises, some, fights going on somewhere, some disturbance or disagreement is happening around us. So all kinds of things that are happening around us which are quite disruptive, they're ādhibhautika. They're just really disturbing us. And ādhyātmika means that which pertains to atma, the self, meaning me. My disturbance in the level of my body. The digestion could be weak. I may not have slept enough. I have pain in my body. Disturbance with the indriyas. I can't see maybe that well. Not able to hear as well. Disturbance with maybe all of the mind. The mind may be disturbed. Maybe today it's just been such a crazy day and I'm a little bit stressed out right now. So these disturbances rise from all these levels. And what the student has realized is, I'm constantly scorched by either of these. That life is actually not completely free. Even if I pursue some kind of happiness, even if I pursue it, I'm constantly bombarded with something or the other. My body is fine one day and then the next day there's a stomachache. And my body is good, then the next day my eyes are just strained. Or my mind is so calm and peaceful, and then the next day, I don't know why it got so disturbed. So it seems like if I rely on my body, mind, intellect, or if I rely on the people around me, that they were so nice and cordial, what happened? Why are they in such a foul mood today, right? If I rely on my body, mind, the people around me, if I rely on these forces, then I'll always be burning some way or the other. Because, it's always coming and going. Something's always happening. And of course, we see that's very evident when we watch the news. It's very evident that's always something going on. So this person then develops viveka, or what we call discernment, that maybe there's got to be something more. That the thing that I want to seek, it's not here. It's not in these 3 levels. I need something more. And so this person has clearly examined the world and said, no, this is not for me. The seeking in trying to gain happiness from these three levels is not for me. And this person then becomes udvigna manasaha. The second word, udvigna manasaha. Udvigna means the mind is dejected. So this symbolizes vairāgya. Vairāgya or dispassion. The mind is dejected in the sense that there's absence of desire for things of the world and hereafter. There's a lack of interest. Do you want to do this? No. Do you want to go here? No. Why don't you relax? Stop thinking too much. Let's go for a vacation. No, that's not going to solve my issue. All of these things are wonderful, but it's not solving my problem. And this person who has come to this seat of dispassion cannot anymore deal with a band-aid solution, right? No, come, let's go for a walk. You'll feel better. No, that's just not enough anymore. It's not going to cut it for me. I need something deeper. And because this student says, I need something deeper, udvigna manasaha, then what happens is, automatically shamadhi sadhaner yuktaha, they become linked, they become yoked to shamadhi. Shamadhi means the sixfold wealth of a seeker. This we've seen in other texts also. Shama, dhamma, uparama, shraddha, titiksha, samadhanam. We've seen these in so many texts. But here I'll share it in a different way. Because of that dispassion, one thing that arises, we'll talk about the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and they can arise in any order, but I'm just naming it in how it's normally written in our scriptures. First, we'll see shama, the control of mind. The control of mind arises because there is dispassion from desire. So what do I mean? When somebody is dispassionate, they have an absence of desire for worldly things. And when there's an absence of desire for worldly things, what happens is there's less anger. Because the more desires that we have, the more anger we will have. Because anger is nothing but a desire that's obstructed. I wanted something so bad and I didn't get it. I become annoyed, angry, perturbed. I wanted something, I got it, but not in the way that I wanted it. Then I become angry, perturbed, annoyed. So the stronger the desire, the stronger the anger will come. They come together. So whenever I am angry, know that there's some desire in there. There's some desire in there that is at the root of that anger. So here now what's happening is, because there's an absence of desire, and there's not maybe total absence, but a great deal of it, then there's a great deal of an absence of anger, then shama happens. The mind comes in control. The mind comes in control because the mind is no longer getting agitated by these things. So shama, control of mind, happens. Then, because there is absence of desired objects, we're no longer interested in it. So we might have, because we have worked righteously, we have worked for many years, and we live in a comfortable home. We have a nice big screen TV, we have nice facilities and everything like that, but we're not interested in it anymore. There's no interest to want to watch anything, want to use anything. It's like, when the kids grow up, we put them in a piano lesson and guitar lesson and so many lessons, and then you have their room filled up with all instruments. and as many as you can find, and then they come home and they're just not interested anymore, and they're just lying there, right? So it's the objects are in front of us, but we're just not interested in it anymore. So that dhamma happens, that control of senses happens. No interest. Because of that, vairāgya, dispassion. Then uparama means the withdrawal from unnecessary activity. Because there's dispassion, then we're not interested anymore in other social activities. Meaning we would go out and socialize, we have a good time, there's no problem in that. But those that we don't need to go anywhere, those that we don't need to go to anymore, we're not interested. In fact, when the invitation comes, we're like, why are we invited? We don't want to go, right? It's this kind of like, I want to just step away from all of that for a while because there's something else I want to do with my time. Something deeper I want to do with my time. So this uparama happens where we withdraw from unnecessary activity. We withdraw from not only unnecessary activity, but we withdraw from interfering too much with people's lives. Before we might have called people, what are you doing? How are you? What's going on? Now it's like just no need to interfere too much. We're also not required, we need to sit, come in and do our own thing. We have to let people do what they need to do. So that kind of dispassion also dawns, uparama, that let me just focus on what's important right now. And titiksha. Titiksha means that endurance. Because there is dispassion from the desires of the world, there is dispassion from the world per se, and there's an understanding that the world is all up and down, up and down. There is dispassion from complaining and worrying about it. Titiksha means endurance, means endure life cheerfully without worry or complaint. So when one is dispassionate and something's happening to the body, why am I going to make such a big fuss? It's the body. What did you expect? Did you expect it to be perfect and stay forever young and stay forever fit? No, it'll happen. If it's too cold outside, why even complain? Why even say anything? What did we expect? It's winter. What else is going to happen? Just keep quiet, don't complain, put on a coat and walk outside. That's all. So there is this dispassion from complaining, from worrying, because this seeker clearly understands the nature of the world. And then Shraddha means faith. Because there is dispassion from the world, because also there is a dispassion from our own ego, meaning the seeker has realized that although I know some things, I don't know everything. I don't know everything. And because I don't know everything, I have to put my faith somewhere. And so why not try it out? Why not have that faith? When we go to school and when a professor walks in, any university, any college, a professor walks in and says, okay, I'm going to teach you this class on information technology. Do we go in doubt and say, okay, this person doesn't know what they're talking about? I don't know what information technology is. Let's just forget about it. This class is just not going to work. We don't do that in school, right? We don't do that when we learn something. So equally in Vedanta, we're listening to the teaching from Adi Shankaracharya ji. So just that faith that, okay, I might not know what this is, but let me give it a sincere try. Let me see what happens. That's Shraddha. And then Samadhanam. Because there's dispassion from the world, the mind is not anymore going forth in so many directions. Samadhana means single-pointedness of mind, the ability to focus. We lack the ability to focus because we are so tempted by other things. We feel like so many things can make us happier. So much that we have FOMO, that we might be in one place and having a good time, but we're wondering, oh, but there's another party, there's another place. What must they be doing there? And should I go there? And should I leave this place? And so we have all these thoughts where wherever we're here, we feel like we should be somewhere else. And when we're somewhere else, we feel like we should be here. And so the mind is so scattered and distracted. But because there's this dispassion, the mind is able to focus. And if we bring all of this together, then that forms the beautiful sixfold qualities, right? So we have viveka, discernment, that's shown by tapatrayarka santaptaha. Clearly analyzed, the student has clearly analyzed the world. We have vairāgya or dispassion, udvigna manasa, was dejected by the world. No, the person knows that they're not going to find the solution here. Then shamadi sadhaner yuktaha. They have the sixfold qualities. Shama, dhamma, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana. And therefore, mumukṣutvam, the fourth now is coming, mumukṣutvam, means that intense desire to pursue this truth is born. And how do we know that somebody has this intense desire for truth? How do we know? Sadgurum paripritchati. It is because they seek out a teacher. They seek out a teacher and they ask for this question. They ask. They seek answers to their questions. So they go to Sadguru. Sadguru means the one that's rooted in Sat, the one who's rooted in truth. Because there can be many gurus, many teachers, right? But we call this Sadguru because Sadguru is rooted in truth, and this Sadguru has the capacity to remove ignorance. Like if a person is lost, they have lost their way home. Right? There are some people that will give them, let's say they're on the streets. On the streets, they lost their way home. They don't know what's going on. Some people will give them some money. Here, take some money. Some people will give them food. Okay, here, take some food. Some people will console them. Oh, don't worry, you'll find your way, because everybody's busy. Right? So here, take some money. Here, you'll figure it out. Here, have some food. I have some food in my pocket. You take it. Don't worry, you'll be okay. Console. But there is one rare person which will say, come, let's find out where your home is and I will take you home. That's called Sadguru. So in our lives, we may have many teachers, and it is a blessing that we have such great teachers, and they help us in all kinds of ways, in all fields, not only the spiritual field, in yoga, in science, in math, in anything, in speaking, all of these things. But that guru who takes us home to our true self, that is called Sadguru. And to this Sadguru, paripritchati, this student asks, and just doesn't ask just like that, but asks so deeply. Asks, and then gets the answer, and then goes through the answer also, and then tries to see if there's anything there that's lacking, and then asks again. It's one thing to casually ask. And many times we do that. We casually ask, oh, what does this mean? Or why is this like this? But this student asks and internalizes the answer, really tries to make sense of it. And then if there's some doubt again, then asks. And this student asks until the answer becomes their own answer. Not until they get the answer, until they become the answer, right? Because to get the answer is one thing, but for us to be that answer is a totally different thing. So this student has that much capacity. And this is how the student is born. This is the student of Vedanta. So when these qualities come alive, the student will approach the teacher. Now, the student approaches the teacher. What is the student going to say? See now, verse number 4. Shishya uvacha, anayasena yenasman, muchyeyam bhavabandhanat, tanme sankshipya bhagavan, kevalam kripaya vada, anayasena yenasman, muchyeyam bhavabandhanat, tanme sankshipya bhagavan, kevalam kripaya vada. So this student, Shishya, this student, Uvacha, student says, Anayasena yena asmat bhavabandhanat muchyeyam. Meaning, tell me that by which, anayasena, effortlessly, muchyeyam, that I may become free from asmat bhavabandhanat, from this samsara, bhavabandhanat. Tell me. Tanme sankshipya means to me, tell me that, sankshipya, very, very briefly. Bhagavan, O teacher, kevalam kripaya vada, and tell me by your grace. Kripaya is please, kripa is also grace. So kripaya, by your grace. So what the student is asking here is, tell me something by which I can become free. And what do I need freedom from? Bhavabandhanat. This samsara of becoming, bandhana, this bondage of bhava, of becoming. That every time I'm thinking of becoming this, of becoming that, of becoming this, it's just too much. And no matter how much I become, I'm still quite miserable. And I'm not looking for anything else, but this is what I'm looking for. I want to be free. I want to be free from this bondage. And how? Effortlessly, you free me effortlessly, meaning I'm not looking for a karma sambandha. I'm not looking for anything related to karma. Because karma or any actions or these practices, they have a beginning and end. So we take up one practice, and then again we take up another practice, and then another practice, and then another practice. It is like it has no end. It has so many, many different levels. How many levels do we have to go through? So I don't want anything that's connected to karma. And I don't want anything that's connected to upasana or contemplation, because that, again, so many different levels we will have to perform. You do it this way. You do, let us say, 50 malas a day. Then you do 100 malas a day. And then you keep going and you keep going. And that is not to say that those practices are futile. They are very, very meaningful. They're very meaningful, and we should do them to gain the purity of mind. But this particular student now said that I have done all of that. So not that the student has not done. So we sometimes think, okay, I don't need to do spiritual practices. This is a kind of student who has done and now says, now enough, tell me something deeper. This is not the kind of student who has not done any spiritual practice and say, okay, tell me in brief, I don't want to do anything. No, 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 no. Because purity will not come until and unless those practices have become our foundation. So he says, now I just want that. It's not that I want an easy route, but I don't want to go through all of this again. I've gone through it. I've done my spiritual practices. I've come to a certain level. I'm still feeling this bondage. So you tell me that which is beyond this, and that which will effortlessly free me. Not that I have to do this and then do this and then do this and then do this. I just do this one thing and that's it. Tell me that thing. Just tell me that thing, because I feel like I'm ready for it. And how should you tell me that thing? Sankshipya. Sankshipya means tell me in brief. Don't give me a long-winded story. I don't need the story. I don't need this is very, very long explanation. And I don't need it to go here and there and everywhere. I don't need it to go in different tangents. Now, there's a very beautiful thing to our literature, right? There are some students who just want the knowledge straight. That's all they want. They just want that. For those students who are capable of just taking it straight, then this prakarna grantha, prakarna grantha that we're taking, like Vakya, Vritti, or we're taking up an Upanishad, that will just give it to you straight. But there are some for whom they feel or they want to see this knowledge dramatized. So for them, our itihasas like Ramayana and Mahabharata and our Puranas are these wonderful, wonderful symbolic stories like Bhagavatam, mystical symbolic stories. Those are very beautiful because it's this truth dramatized, right? So here the student is saying, I don't want all of that, but I just want it straight, brief. Just tell me like it is. He must have been a New Yorker, very straight and very brief. So then he says to his teacher, Bhagavan, for me, you are like Bhagavan. You are like that divine being. Because Sri Krishna himself says in chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtaha mattasmritirjnanamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyah vedanta krit veda videva chaham. He says that vedaischa sarve ahameva vedya means I am that truth which is known in the Veda. And not only that, Vedanta krit, I am the teacher of that truth. And not only that, Vedanta krit, Vedavit, I am the student of that truth. I am the one who comes to know that truth. That is all me. So for me, you are that appearing as that teacher, that Bhagavan appearing as that teacher to me, and you are teaching me. So for us, this is Adi Shankaracharya ji. And he says here, Kevalam kripaya vada means that I will be free by your grace. Please tell me, because only by your grace, really, this can happen. Because remember, our great saints and sages who have taught Vedanta, it's not like they needed to do it. And it's not like we can give them anything back for it. Somebody who gives us this knowledge of the truth, what can we give them? They don't want anything. They don't need anything. They're not interested in anything. So what could we possibly give them? So I cannot give to you what you are giving to me, but yet you are giving to me, and that is because of your grace. And the Guru gives because the Guru says at one point, I too was a student. I too was a shishya, and I needed this. Therefore, I'm going to give it. So this whole lineage, what we call sampradaya, this lineage of teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student, it happens only by grace. It only happens because the teacher realizes that it is because of the grace of my teacher that I got this, so let me pass this on. And so when it's passed on, it is just passed on by grace. So here, the student says, it is just your grace. By your grace, you please explain to me briefly. That means where I can be liberated from this bondage. And sankshipya also means here and now. I don't want any means which is going to tell me next life and you have to come back in another birth. And I don't want all of that. I don't want all of that. I want to know here and now. Done. That's it. So the teacher says, okay. Now let's see what the teacher says to the student and how the teacher responds. In verse number 5. Gururuvacha sadvite vachana vyaktihi pratibhati vadamite idam taditi vispashtam savadhanamana shrunuhu sadvite vachan vyaktihi pratibhati vadamite idam taditi vispashtam savadhanamana shrunu. So the Guru speaks. Now, remember, the Guru doesn't always speak. So when Adi Shankaracharya ji first met his Guru, Govindapada, he was in Samadhi. And his eyes were closed. And he did not open his eyes for anybody. But Adi Shankaracharya ji was so sincere. He said, I have come searching for you and only you. And I long to know that truth. And by God's grace, please open your eyes because I wish to know that truth. And this Guru asked, who are you? And Adi Shankaracharya ji, he replied with a Dasha Shloki. He said, I am not space, air, fire, water, earth. I am none of this. I am not the body, mind, intellect. Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevaloham. I am just that Shiva, that auspiciousness. And the Guru opened his eyes. So pleased with Adi Shankaracharya ji. So Guru only speaks when there's actually a good reason to speak. Because otherwise, wise people, they don't talk unnecessarily. And that's how you know somebody's wise. Somebody just yaks and yaks and yaks. It means there's still so much unnecessary stuff there. But when somebody is wise, they conserve all of their thoughts, all of their energy, all of their words, because they want to dedicate everything to the higher. They don't want any leakage of unnecessary energy. So this teacher recognized the student and said, Sadvi te vachana vyaktihi pratibhati. Means te vachana vyaktihi sadvi pratibhati. te, your vachana vyakti, your expression of speech, sadhvi, is excellent. Your expression of speech is excellent. Pratibhati, and it clearly expresses what you are asking, what you are seeking. Vadami te, I will tell you. Idam tad iti. I will tell you tad idam iti. That is this. I will tell you that. How will I tell you? Vispashtam, very clearly. But savadhana manaha shrunu. Listen with a very alert mind. So the teacher says, I'm pleased with this student because to express a doubt very clearly takes a lot of thinking. So many times we will have a doubt and we will express it, which is fine also. But this doubt, the way that it was expressed is so clear. So clear. I've been through all this. I've tried, tested all these methods. I've gone here and there. It's not working. This is what I want. I want to be free, he says. Very good. I want to be free. And anayasena, without effort, means I'm not looking for doing more karma or upasana. I'm not looking for that. I want the direct means. And I want the direct means and sankshipya, and tell me it in brief. Don't give me a long-winded way. I want it in brief. I want it here. I want it now. I don't want it hereafter. This is exactly what I want. It was so clear. So the teacher said, I'm very happy with you. Because you gave this, you expressed this. Now I know what to do. See, the clearer the question, the clearer the answer. Right? Sometimes when the question is vague, then also the answer will be vague because it has to match. It has to match. The question and the answer, they have to match. So now this teacher says, Vadami te idam tad iti vispashtam. I will tell you that, about that. And we call that truth, that supreme reality, we call it that because we feel like it's far. It's actually not far. We feel like it's far, so it's called that, which is this. This meaning that is this. This is your innermost self. And I will tell you clearly. This is the dharma of the teacher. The dharma of the teacher is to be very clear. That is a dharma. Because if the teacher does not clearly speak it or express it, then the doubt will remain. And this knowledge is so precious. So the teacher cannot be ordinary. It cannot be somebody from the street saying, okay, I'll tell you this very clearly. The teacher actually has to do a lot of sadhana. Even if sadhana, spiritual practices, is not the direct means, the teacher has to do a lot of spiritual practices to keep their mind very sharp, very subtle, and very pure, so that this truth is constantly radiant. So that's the tapasya of the teacher. Just to teach, just to say something, just to put something together has a lot of spiritual practices behind it. Otherwise, this kind of thing would not be possible. So when we look at the work of our great masters, it's so incredible how much clarity they had. So the dharma of the teacher is to have that purity of spiritual practices, and because of that purity, that clarity is able to manifest. And the dharma of the student is what? Savadhana manaha, to have a very quiet, alert, and vigilant mind. A very quiet, alert, and vigilant mind. This is what Puja Gurudev used to say. A mind that is incredibly focused. Because this is not a casual thing. In our Shastra, Shravanam, that's why I said shrunu, Shravanam, on listening to it alone is when the knowledge dawns. On listening to it. It might take listening a lot of times, and it might take listening, then reflection, then contemplation. But again, you come back to that listening, right? So on listening, that knowledge dawns. And if the mind is somewhere else, then the subtlest things could be missed. And so this also indicates the purity that has to come from the student. That the whole day should be a pure day, in the sense that the body is fit, not feeling hungry or thirsty or uncomfortable. The mind is free from distraction. Not some rash thing that happened, not that they said anything bad or they did anything wrong. It's free from all kinds of distraction. And that ability to have their mind exactly in the same place as the body. That's very, very difficult for us nowadays, right? To have our mind exactly in the same place as the body. That's called focus. That's quiet, alert, vigilant mind. Savadana mana. So that student, that's the dharma. With that, you listen, I'll explain everything. This is what the teacher says. Now, what is the teacher going to explain? How does the teacher start? That we will see next week. Okay? We'll see how the teacher exactly starts this wonderful teaching next week. Okay? So we'll say the closing prayer and then we'll go through any questions or anything. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.